This is another Clifton native reptilian species. This is eastern box turtle. This one happens to be an adult male. I can tell by the bottom of its plastron, by this little depression underneath. Box turtles are terrestrial, although they will readily enter water, but generally speaking they are more adapted to a land existence. Unfortunately, this one will not come out of its shell, and rightly so. It's probably in defense mode right now, thinking I'm some sort of predator. But box turtles, as many people know who have encountered them, do have this ability to enclose themselves entirely within their shell. They can do this by means of this hinge right here at the bottom of their plastron, sort of not quite midway, but about 2/3 up from the tail, this vertical line here. So it serves as a door hinge, allowing the animal to completely encase itself within its outer skeleton, also known as the shell. These turtles are identified generally, again, by their high dome shell, the ability to enclose themselves within it. And if we had the softer parts of the body exposed, we can look at the legs and whatnot, and also describe that as a land adaptation as opposed to an aquatic one. Their shells are highly variable in this species. This one, and like most, usually has a darkly patterned carapace or top shell with a pattern of orange-yellow spots throughout the entire portion of the top shell here. The shell is basically two components. Again, as I said, the carapace on top, the plastron on the bottom. It's also made up of two components in terms of the materials. The outermost material with these concentric rings here, known as the scales or the scutes. Okay, and each one of these rings represents a growth period, similar to that of the rings of a tree when you cut it in half. The same also occurs underneath on the bottom. These are also scutes, but in this case there's no sort of pattern other than it's got a dark brown appearance. So this is the same material, that equivalent to of our fingernail. Okay, it's the same sort of material called keratin. So it is metabolically active. It is also metabolically associated with the underlying bone that this covers. So it's kind of like wallpaper over drywall, except it's living tissue. So potentially could be quite painful should you try to scratch this or carve into it or whatnot. At least that's what I would imagine. I try to think of it as maybe my fingernails being pulled off if you were trying to pull off one of these scales. But anyway, this is a good sized meal. Found it right on the edge of some shrubs and a cut through here in our park. So pretty much a woodland habitat with a disturbed area, but nonetheless does provide a variety of cover as well as foraging sites. So we're going to let this guy go and move on to the next one.